Hello, I'm Josh Starmer, and welcome to Human Stories in AI with StatQuest and Lightning AI. In this series, we'll hear about the career journeys of passionate AI experts. From their humble beginnings to conquered challenges, we'll be inspired by the real-world experiences of professionals thriving in the ever-evolving AI landscape. Human Stories in AI is brought to you by Lightning AI. Code together, prototype, train, and deploy AI web apps, all from your browser with zero setup. Personally, I love Lightning AI because it makes it super easy to use and learn from the StatQuest coding tutorials. Just go to the webpage, click on the Run button, and bam! You get code that you can play with without downloading anything or installing any packages. Today, we have special guest Xavier Godoy, the Director of Customer Experience and Automation at HBX Group in Mallorca, Spain. Xavier has had a career driven by curiosity and a desire to learn more, while simultaneously making sure that customer satisfaction is always the focus of his efforts. So, without further ado, Xavier, or Xavi, can you tell us about your journey to where you are right now at HBX Group? How did this all start?
So I decided to go back to the university, for the ones, well, a bit of story about our company. We based the headquarters, although we are global, is based on Mallorca, which is an island off the coast of Spain. And Mallorca is well known since the 60s or 70s for being a great place for tourists all around the world. Maybe most popular in the UK or in Germany for taking vacation. Okay. So I suppose that this influenced me, and what I studied at the university is hospitality. So I was kind of charmed by this world, and then, so despite I have started working on the hotel industry, then quickly I went into the distribution, some more the technology side of travel and tourism, which is basically what our company does. No, so being a tech player, playing in the distribution of travel products and services.
So, I'm not in the hospitality industry, and what you just said kind of made sense, but kind of didn't. Could you give us a few more details about it to fill in the blanks?
Yes. So, quick example, no? So we've got a hotel, and the hotel needs to sell the different rooms that they have, no? So let's say that we have a hotel with 100 rooms, and they have different options to distribute these rooms. So the first option would be if someone walks in, no, from the street, then you can tell the rack rates, no, the prices, and you can secure a room night, no, so people staying at your hotel. But with this strategy, possibly you could get to maybe 5% of the occupancy of your hotel. So this is why you need to expand, no, and the hospitality industry is tied to travel, no. So if you only rely on the people that are going to walk by your hotel, then this is not going to work, no. This is why having players like us is important, because we fill this gap, no, of selling these hotel rooms to travel agencies, tour operators, etc., across the globe, no, so that the hotel can have a higher occupancy with this global reach, no, that we enable.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That totally makes sense. So instead of just like, hey, I'm going to go to Mallorca, but I have no idea where I'm going to stay, and you get there and you're like walking down the street and you're like, oh, that looks like a cute hotel, I'm going to go to that one. And they're like, if a hotel that depends on that kind of business will go out of business pretty shortly. So what you guys are doing is you're connecting that hotel with other ways to market and sell those hotel rooms. So travel agencies, presumably websites.
Correct. Online travel agencies as well. Yeah. And we are a B2B player, no? So our name won't be known to the general public, it is known in the industry, but basically what we're doing is to create this, so through technology, to create these bridges that allows this distribution of services.
So B2B, you mean business to business.
Correct.
So you guys are, yeah, you're in the invisible connection between the hotel and sort of some end website where someone's going to, like, I don't know if you guys use Expedia, but you know what I'm talking about. There's some travel website. Okay, very cool. Or like, what is it, TripAdvisor or something like that?
Plenty of them. I mean, you can name hundreds and thousands of both tour operators, travel agencies. So the size of the business is quite vast.
So a question is, I'm not very familiar with the hospitality industry, but when I think of hospitality industry, I think of, restaurants or managing a hotel. You could go to school and learn how to manage a hotel. I wasn't expecting you to go to school and learn how to, like, program and do all this software stuff. So did you learn that in school, or you learned that on your own, or how did you develop those skills?
So I've always been very keen to learn things about technology, and I would say that it was kind of my well, not my first option, but because in my heart what I wanted to be was an architect, but my physics grades were that good. Okay, so I had to decide for the kind of the mainstream option here in Mallorca. But when I entered into business, what I managed to do, and thanks to a lot of opportunities that also I've been given, is to move closer to responsibilities around technology. And as I am very curious, and always trying to learn, also thanks to the different colleagues that we've been engaging with here throughout the years, I have been able to learn a bit about technology, about AI as well, and this is why I'm currently holding that position.
That's excellent. And you actually said a word that I just want to repeat, because I think it's like a little nugget right there, like curiosity. You had curiosity, and I think that was maybe the driving force, right? You're like, oh, I want to learn about this stuff. Let's do it. And you went and you did it, which I think is fantastic. So that's cool. So now, can you tell us about customer experience automation?
So, in the name of our area is a bit a misnomer, because you could argue that customer experience is or fights against automation, or that the two worlds are kind of collapsing one with the other.
Exactly.
But at the end, what our aim is we need to embrace automation, and we need to embrace data transformation. So we need to become more efficient, because we've got advances in the industry and in the general world. So now a lot of advances are generally available for everyone. So basically, we need to adapt to become more efficient. But what I think that is good is that we, by design, are embedding the customer experience into this transformational process, so that we try to balance the objective. So yes, we need to be more efficient, but without losing this customer-centric mindset.
Yeah. You want the customer to feel special, but you want to kind of streamline whatever process it takes to make them feel special.
Correct.
So that it's as efficient as possible. So can you give us some examples of how you do that, or?
Yes, sure. So the first things, and this we started a few years ago, when kind of the first implementations of machine learning models, etc., are around personalization. So one thing that we have very clear is that we wanted to, back in the day, I was in marketing, and so we identified that our communications needed to be more relevant. No, so one simple example, and this is super widespread, no, is how by personalizing our content, and something that you cannot do manually, no, so you need some kind of system behind to do it. So being more relevant, at the end, you are going to provide a better experience for the one that, in this case, are receiving your newsletter or your emails. And also, looking at it from the business perspective, you're going to have better engagement and better conversions. So this is a very clear example, also quite basic.
Yeah, but I love basic examples personally. So can we dive a little deeper into this basic example? So you, say, like, for example, you were creating a newsletter, and you wanted to personalize that newsletter, and you said you were using some sort of machine learning to help with that personalization. Can you talk about that? How you might do that?
I'm going to fast forward a bit and talk about something that is a bit more actual, no? Something that actually my team is working on at the moment, which is an opportunities center for the customers that are using our website. Now, when we're talking about distributing the hotel rooms, no, the example that I provided before, we've got certain distributions that are based on integrations, no, interconnectivities of systems, but we also have a quite big customer base that are travel advisors, no? So travel agents working with their computers, and they logging into our website, and a tool that we're providing to them is a center where they can see the hotels that peer travel agents in their geographical zone are buying. Okay, so here is when machine learning comes into play, because applying so grouping these travel agents by geography is basic, but imagine a travel agent that is is specialized, no, and sells trips to Japan.
Yeah.
So this travel agent that happens to be in New York is closer to a specialist travel agent that also sells trips to Japan that is in Paris. Okay, so in this case, this travel agent in Paris and this travel agent in New York would be closer, will be more similar one to each other compared to the ones in their neighborhood. This is, so in this case, what we're applying is a clustering mechanism so that we can find these similarities and offer the relevant products.
I love it. So yeah. So you're using clustering, or and it doesn't even have to be like the most fancy thing. Can I take it? I mean, are you using something akin to to k-means clustering or something like that, or do you can you tell us about that, or?
This rings a bell, but as you know, I'm not so I'm more on the business side. Locally, I've got a team of data specialists, no, and these are the guys that are selecting the right
So they implement
systems.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did you come? I don't know who comes up with the idea. Someone comes up with the idea. You decide it's good, and then the team works on it. How
Correct.
big is your team?
So currently, my team is close to 25 people.
No way. That's huge. Wow. That's quite a big team. So I'm presumably there's lots of projects going on among all the team members, and I still think your journey. I want to go back to your journey, because now that I know your team is so big, holy smokes, how did that happen? Did you start off with one person and then grow it, or did you transfer into an existing team, or how did this work?
So my background in my company I come from marketing, no? So I did kind of a transition of my role and specialty, and I started working in the marketing department here at HBX Group. And we were a small area in the marketing department that was kind of the technological area, no? So the nerds that are working in marketing more focused on the digital stuff, no? So around websites, around data, etc., versus the creative side, no? Which is, of course, very relevant, no? But the kind of this team, no? So this technology team within marketing was the embryo of it. And basically, so our company is not a digital native. So our activities in marketing back in the day, many years back, were pretty, let's say, offline, no? So with relying a lot on printed materials and offline interactions, no? And we weren't work in a way that wasn't worked before, no? So we were kind of catching up because so we were kind of laggards, no, in terms of applying certain digital techniques. And this was our focus back in the day. And basically, what we drove was a digital transformation within marketing, no? And then we ended into a point where the whole the whole marketing department was already digital. And then the company decided that we were going to focus on expanding these capabilities into the commercial side. Okay, so basically to construct a digital attention model, no, for specific customers and specific suppliers. And then my last move until where we are now, or the last move of the team, is now in operations. So this is when we realized that we were calling ourselves customer experience, but we had experience on sales and marketing, and we were lacking a lot of experience on customer care, on operations. Okay, and now the team is in operations, so that we can embrace all this knowledge, because there is no better way to speed up your learning than be immersed in this in the department that you need to learn this about.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were in marketing originally, and you needed to modernize, like the techniques that had worked before weren't going to work forever because your competitors, they're moving fast too, right? So you had to modernize, and in that process, it just sort of organically formed this team that eventually became this large group that the company then decided to strategically move into operations ultimately. Is that sort of what happened?
That's correct. And in terms of the size of the team, initially, so we were kind of as I said, no, the nerds of this area, and then our director of marketing back in the day believed that we needed to have a greater impact to the company, and our first endeavor was around acquisition. Okay, so our acquisition effort was driven mainly by our workforce on the terrain. Okay, that and continues to be so. No? So we are not losing this personal touch. What we're doing is complementing this, and back in the day what we started is to construct a digital way to become our customers and our partners. And this originally, so imagine, no, the first year when you put this together, you start to, I mean, if you see the metrics, no, and the number of customers that you are getting, possibly 2%, 5% of customers are only coming from the digital channel. This over time, and I have a lot of bad things to say about the pandemic, no, but I think that it had changed. I mean, we were changing the paradigm already, no? So we were getting more digital. We were the customer experience that Juggernaut like Amazon has said is something that we all needed to play catch up with. But the pandemic, especially for us in the travel industry, has been a total change, and it has sped up a lot of this modernization. At the moment, the ratio has swept, So the vast majority of customers that we are getting now in our business, not all type of customers, So I'm talking more about our partners in the travel advisor segment. They are coming through digital because it's a very effortless, frictionless route to become
6 feet minimum distance. Yeah,
correct?
when you do it online, yeah. That's fantastic. Another thing that keeps popping up that I think is amazing is you keep talking about the customer experience and trying to optimize that and make it as. There seems like there's a very human side of everything you do. Like whenever you do something, you're always thinking about the effects it will have on real people, in terms of their experience, which I think is phenomenal. Like you're right at this interface of creating a technology, but creating it in such a way that it's personalized, that it creates an experience that people resonate with and respond to positively, that it's all about them. It's all about the customers. I just think that's fascinating because sometimes there's ML and there's data science and it isn't so people focused. So I think it's very interesting that it just keeps coming up, that you keep talking about how the goal are these people, and they're real people, and you want to make them as happy and as comfortable as possible and be sort of adaptable to their needs. I think that's fantastic.
I can tell you two stories about people, or how we embed the people component into what we do. The first one is around the systems that we use. When we are designing a certain journey that we want our customers or partners to flow across, is always customer centric. And for me, there is no other way. And what does customer centric mean? This means that you need to do an effort to bring the customer together with you when you are designing the process for them. And we still need to go a long way, but the first thing that you need to establish is the mindset. And we have very clear that there is no other way. Sometimes, yes, you lack the time, you have committee decisions that you need to apply, etc., etc. But if you have this mindset, then in most cases, you're going to have the customer with you. And it's a matter of prioritizing that this happens. If we tell ourselves that I'm not doing this because I don't have time, etc., at the end, if this is for parts of your mindset, you're going to make this happen. So this is the first point. Customer first, and the customer needs to be part of your design process. The second story, and this is a topic that I repeat often, is when we're talking about virtual assistant. So virtual assistants is another solution application that we're also working on. And sometimes you get this normal argument, this normal discussion about artificial intelligence or virtual assistants displacing human customer care agents. And for me, the way into looking at a virtual assistant is that they embody the best of the human talent that we have in the company. So humans are still needed, of course, and there are many cases where a human is going to do a better job, okay, than a virtual assistant. What we need to achieve is that the virtual assistant is or takes the best traits of the, let's say, human colleagues, so that it can be useful for the customer. And then when we decide that the virtual assistant is not good for the customer experience, a human takes over.
It can hand it off. So I think what you're saying is that the virtual assistant is useful for kind of like maybe some simple things and maybe clear, making it so that the actual people can focus on the more interesting problems. So if it's a real simple thing that doesn't, people don't want to do to begin with, the virtual assistant can take care of it. But as soon as it gets interesting, as soon as it gets complicated, the virtual assistant can then hand that problem off to an actual person so that they can get that personal touch and they can get that sort of knowledge and wisdom that the actual person's going to bring. That makes a lot of sense, right? I think that's what you're saying, right?
Yes, that's it. And possibly, so I think that you said this correctly, no? So the assistant takes on the simpler activities, and then the people takes on the topics that are more complex or more complicated. We need also to think that sometimes the dealing with simpler problems or simpler requests is a way to lower, the cognitive tension, that one person has, while working. And if we remove these simpler problems, then what we are leaving our people to is to deal only with complex cases. So we need to make sure that, yes, whilst we use machines to solve the simpler problems, we also use machines and use these kind of technologies to provide, to give tools for the people to be also much more effective in their day-to-day, and so that they have the tools to perform better.
I love it. Personally, I'm a coder, and to me, and I like coding, but the fun part of coding isn't, for me, from my perspective, isn't like typing in everything correctly. The fun part of coding is solving this problem. And there's all kinds of AI assistants now for coding, and they don't ruin the experience at all for me because I'm still solving a problem. But the little tedious things, I don't have to worry about those things, about getting them right all the time. I can let the AI take care of those details for me, and I can still think of this big picture, sort of what's the real problem and solving it. And it sounds like that's what you're doing, the same thing, but for sort of customer service, which I think is fantastic. Xavi, before we go, it's been great, by the way. It's been great talking to you. But before we go, I want to find out if you've learned anything, kind of any bits of wisdom or nuggets or advice that you've learned over the years during your journey that you think maybe some other people might benefit from.
Well, I have quite a bad memory, so what I can explain is possibly the topics that possibly I've learned in the very recent past. No, so I would say going back to the start of the call when you said curiosity. No, this is a key trait that you have to foster and to put in practice, etc. So I would say be curious, no? And curiosity is a driver for learning a lot of new things and moving into new areas of knowledge, new areas of the business, or whatever. And second, go on.
I was going to say, yeah, I had my own second already and it's based on your story. Not only were you curious, you were flexible, right? As things changed, you went with the changes. You weren't being like, no, I'm going to be in marketing forever, So but don't let me get in the way. I was just getting really excited. I love curiosity.
Well, you gave me a third one, no? That is also flexibility. That I think that is also a very, very good trait to have. If I have to say the second one that I have thought about is proactivity. No, I think that you need to be proactive because if you are reactive, yes, things may come your way, but being proactive and facing problems, looking for problems as well. No, so sometimes exciting problems are not going to come your way. So possibly you need to make the effort to encounter them and then solve them.
I love that one too. A lot of things came to mind when you mentioned being proactive. It reminds me of like one of the first jobs I had. I worked in a hospital, and I had a job that, like, in all honesty, took a very small amount of time for me to get done. So I would just wander around the hospital and see what needed to get done. And I found all these cool problems and had a lot of fun and did really well. And, you know, it actually kind of pushed me in the direction that I am now. So it really paid off. But it also reminds me of just when you were describing your company, how the hotel could just sit there and wait for someone to walk by and go, oh, I think I'll stay in this hotel. That hotel's going to, like, there's no way that hotel's going to do well, right? It's going to go out of business within the year. And that's because they're not being proactive, right? They're not going out and finding the people and connecting in ways that need to bring the business to keep the hotel afloat. And so it's sort of like, so that's all these like cool ideas of like, yes, yeah, of course, be proactive, not just for it's like it works for the business, but it also works for people, right? If you go out and you find the problems that need to be solved, you find the customers that you need to be reaching that maybe you weren't reaching before, and you can come up with a new way to reach them. That's problem solving. I love it.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, Xavi, I just got to say, it's been fantastic talking to you. I want to thank you very much for joining me today. I've learned a lot about hospitality and kind of the problems you guys have to deal with and how you're solving those problems. And it's very cool. Keeping the human touch as part of the solution. I love it.
Well, thanks for having me, Josh. This has been a real pleasure.